Which Side Podcast is a proud member of the Which Side Media Collective.
This is episode 66.
Yeah, we have Jo-Anne McArthur.
From weanimals.org.
Yeah, she also did the movie.
A new documentary coming out.
Yeah, The Ghost in Our Machine.
That's going to be touring across the U.S.
really soon
starting
now.
in April, I believe.
Yeah.
So check out her work. It's really awesome and inspiring, everything that she does.
Yeah, definitely.
Slingshot of the week.
Do you want to go with events first?
Sure. Events.
Okay.
Hey, what events are happening this week?
Oh, good thing you asked. February 11th, the day we fight back. You can find out more about that. It's a mass protest against mass surveillance by the NSA, National Security Agency.
TheDayWeFightBack.org?
I believe that's one of them.
Yeah, look it up. Participate. It's gonna be great. Do you know what else is happening pretty much every Tuesday from now on?
I do, yeah.
Until the foreseeable future?
Yes, I do.
You can get out your little goat heads,
Rock
your goat
out.
hands, and start twirling your hair around. Because we're on a metal station.
Yeah, we are.
Fuck yeah, we are.
Yeah.
I'm not very metal usually.
Hardcore's metal enough.
Yeah, hardcore. Like the most metal I get is going to be like Afterburn or like Burnt by the Sun. But they get there. I mean, Burnt by the Sun's pretty fucking metal.
Yeah.
You know, Burnt by the Sun, some members of Endeavor.
Oh, yeah.
I love Endeavor.
Yeah.
Anyways, check us out.
Core Destruction
Core of
Radio.
Destruction Radio, Tuesdays at 10 Eastern Time.
Yeah, I believe so.
Yeah, so check that out. It's pretty awesome.
9 o'clock Mountain Time. So that would be 10 o'clock Central Time, 11 o'clock Eastern Time.
Sorry, I don't know how to tell my time zones.
Math.
Look it up, coreofdestructionradio.com. But according to the Slingshot, on February 13th, 1837, 6,000 people participated in the Flower Riot in New York City as a riot of the poor against poverty.
Oh.
Yeah, so, look up your goddamn history.
Now you know.
Now you know.
The battle.
GI Podcast.
So, I do that way too fucking often.
I know, me too.
2 of the members of Pussy Riot that were arrested were kicked out of Pussy Riot because they're not radical anymore. And
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Didn't know that. I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, they're too mainstream. It's not what Pussy Riot's about. They're
Okay.
punk rock.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
guys, enjoy this episode with Jo-Anne.
Peace.
Hey there.
How's it going?
Good, how are you?
Doing good.
Hi, I'm Jeremy, by the way.
Hey, Jeremy, I'm Joe.
And I'm Jordan.
Hey, you're both there. Good
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
And so, do you prefer Joe or Jo-Anne?
Oh, I think everyone pretty much called me Joe. But you know what? If you want to call me Jo-Anne, you can. That's fine.
So,
It is
what
sort
kind
of
of tea did
strange.
you get?
Oh my gosh, my friend many years ago, actually, you might have interviewed Karl Wojciechowski. He's the director of Maximum Tolerated Dose. He bought me this random tea a couple of years ago called Black Thunder, and he bought it for me because it was just such a funny title for it. And I came across it again today. I was like, Black Thunder, and then I had all these nice memories. I was like, I'm gonna buy some Black Thunder tea, and I'm on my 3rd mug because that's what I do.
I'm right there with you.
Black tea.
I'm on my 5th mug of tea today.
Good on ya. So not coffee.
Oh no, I don't drink coffee.
I do.
And do you guys have like strong opinions about drinking coffee and not drinking coffee and all that?
My strong opinion is it tastes disgusting.
Me too.
I like tea and I like coffee. Some days I'll drink tea all day. Some days I'll drink coffee all day. So I'm very easy to please.
I think that coffee smells incredible. Like I would love to smell that all day. And I even worked in coffee shops for a couple of years, but I've only sipped it twice, and it's totally revolting. So tea is where I'm at.
You must
Black
have.
Thunder tea.
What kind of tea is Black Thunder? Is it a black tea?
Yeah, it's a combo of like black tea and a yerba mate.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's like really earthy and it's super strong, which I like. And I have all these good memories around it. So Black Thunder, you should try it sometime.
I definitely will. I'm just going with a really nice light oolong right now.
Okay.
And I'm
So-
doing a double bergamot Earl Grey.
Oh, darling.
I do start my morning every day with an Earl Grey, so
Oh, wow. For me, it's Tetley. I keep like I feel like I'm plugging things. I'm gonna like drink Black Thunder. What is Morning Thunder? Drink Tetley. No. It's like can all that. Anyway, I like black tea all the way.
if I could do oolongs all day, that's probably what I would drink almost exclusively.
I do like oolongs. Okay. Tea talk.
Black or death.
I didn't know this would turn into tea talk, but that's more than okay.
I was all happy to be telling you about the potato salad I was putting in my potato salad hole that Jenny made from Apocalypse Now. 'Cause her bakery just opened today.
Yeah, that's what I heard. That's awesome.
Yeah, she had some issues with pipes freezing in this crazy Toronto winter we're having, so the opening got delayed a little bit, but I went there today and the bakery was really busy, people coming and going, and there's so much good stuff in there. So I sort of bought a lot of stuff, and including like this vegan ricotta and tzatziki, and anyway, it's delicious. Yay, go Jenny!
Yeah.
I love potato salad so goddamn much.
I know, me too. And it's like not really good for you, but it's just good for your soul. Maybe it is good for you. Is it? I mean,
I know.
It's vegan. That works, right?
if it's vegan, it's good for you.
Yeah, sure.
I lived that way for like 20 years. Does that count?
Oh my goodness. Okay, well if it's working for you.
Oh no, it's not. I've had to make some changes.
Yeah. I don't know if I could live off potato salad. Like my heart and my happiness could, but my body wouldn't be able to get out of bed after a few weeks.
And then you switch out the potatoes and put in mashed chickpeas.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. But then you add kale to it, and it's all okay.
So, yeah,
Yeah, kale just makes everything good.
spinach and greens, whatever.
Exactly. Just like throw a few of those in the potato salad, and it justifies everything.
That's why I drink my kale juice in the morning, and then I can eat whatever the fuck I want.
Yeah, right.
I'll deep fry my kale.
Yeah.
Throw it in.
Kale ice cream.
Makes it good.
So if you can't tell, we take this very seriously.
I'm feeling pretty intimidated right now, actually.
Man, way to assert your.
Yeah, nice one, guys. I'm feeling really awkward and like really put on the spot.
Well, it's funny because our producer told us, you gotta take this one very seriously. I really love this lady and do it very seriously. So
no one said that.
nope, that's actually 100% true.
She did.
Okay, what's the story? Why do you have to take this one seriously? I mean, whether or not she likes me, why would she be like, you have to take this one seriously?
No, she wanted me to make sure that I asked. I don't know.
What did she want you to ask?
I don't know. Now
Now you're drawing a blank?
Now I'm drawing a blank, so it's not like I'm gonna do it anyway. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay.
No. But
she'd heard about me somehow. I guess you guys heard about me somehow.
yeah, no. She really liked. She wanted to know like if it's hard to take pictures of some of the animals and some of the situations that they're in.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's funny because like it's the best part of my work because I love being in the field and that's what I'm good at, and taking the pictures and being there and doing the work. But it's also the worst part of my work because I'm leaving hundreds of thousands of animals behind.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's it's bulls at a bullfight. Well, or if it's, sometimes, you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, some nights it's 150,000 hens at a farm. So, we go up and down the aisles and we document everything, and then we leave, and we're helping hopefully future generations of animals, but we're not helping the ones who are there. And it is really hard.
So what got you into this line of activism?
Combining my skills, like my love for photography. I was always a photo fanatic, and I always loved animals, and I mean, a lot of people love animals, but what I sort of realized about myself later on in life was that I didn't just have a love of animals, I had a concern for animals. Even as a kid, like, if I heard a dog barking in a backyard or something, I would notice. I'd be like, oh, I wonder if this dog is kept outside. So I always had a concern, and then, after, I was getting into being a photojournalist and looking for stories and traveling. I'm a big traveler, and I did a story on the Tibetan children's village up in northern India and stuff like that, but it wasn't my heart. And then one of my mentors said, like, scrap all this stuff, you're looking for all these stories, just what do you love the most? Do that as a story. And I was like, oh yeah, wow, like I can combine my skills and my loves and make the world a better place that way. And it's always something that I was into, is like not just existing in my little bubble of whatever things I like. Like I've always, I guess my parents taught me that, like, you have to take part in the world. You have to help. You have to volunteer. Like I have such a cushy lifestyle. Like kind of anyone who lives in a big city, I mean, whether or not we have a lot of money, we're sort of on top of the food chain, so to speak. And I am, like I'm this white privileged woman. So with that, like I have a huge responsibility to give back. So I'm able to give back through my work. And now that's become, sort of everything that I do, which I love.
Are you surprised at all by the reception of your work?
I guess I don't know. I don't think about it that much. I haven't analyzed that. I'm just really happy that so many people write to me and are affected by it, and not just the photos, but with the movie too. So that's been big. It's been sort of a big year in terms of exposure and getting my work out there. So the feedback's been good, and it makes me very happy, and it just keeps me pushing forward. It's not. I mean, the photos aren't so much in the mainstream. That's been a struggle, but that's changing. I mean, you guys have seen it. We've all seen it. Now there's not a day goes by where there's not an article. I mean, even in Rolling Stone magazine and stuff like that about animal rights issues and animal rights coming to the fore. So yay for that.
Yeah. So how do you feel about like the ag bills that are happening, especially around us? Our state was the first state to pass them, affecting work like yours.
Well, how do I feel about them?
Well, yeah.
Of course, it's just, completely awful for every reason, and they shouldn't be able to get away with it. But it's coming to other countries, and I mean, we'll see how long they last. We'll see how often they actually pass, and how often they're defeated, and how long they last. I mean, what direction are we headed in, really? I mean, in the world in general. So, in Canada and Australia, we're going to see this stuff coming soon. I say Canada and Australia because I'm from Canada, and I'm also from Australia, and because I'll be working there more and more. I think Will Potter is going there soon, actually, to talk specifically about ag stuff. He's doing a tour there. But anyway, I digress. I don't know, like, depending on where this world is going, and it's really not going in a great direction, we could just see these pop up everywhere. But I'm a hopeful person. Yay! Whether that's naive or not, I am. That's how I strive and live and move forward. And I'd like to think that, they might pass in a lot of places, but they might only last a few years, and we can go back to normal. Because, I mean, it's just ridiculous. Like, how are they even passing? You tell me. Like, how is that? Well, we know why, because money. So never mind. It's a ramble. So
do you find it, like, super hard being an optimistic person and being an activist?
Did you ask if I feel hard?
If it's hard, because I've always felt, and I've seen this go through lots of activists where, we get super optimistic and then we get burnt out and then we're like, fuck this, and then build back up to being super optimistic again. Like, do you find it hard being optimistic?
That is sort of a complex question for me because it's part of like how I've built up myself and We Animals and what I put out there. Like, people look to We Animals as an optimistic thing, right? Like, I'm putting out a lot of awful material, but I'm also putting out a lot of hope and rescues and optimism and open rescues and like, let's work hard and let's be activists and yay, yay, yay. So I'm sort of a cheerleader for all of that. And as the years have gone on, I've sort of put aside or not allowed myself to get really down because I've been down. I mean, I've been depressed. I've had PTSD because of all this stuff. And I know it's not going to work. Like, I'm going to burn out if I live in that mental space. So, I've put up some barriers, and I think that they're relatively healthy ones around not being hopeful or being negative or just, going to, I see all this stuff and I go to all these places and I could very easily just be negative and be down and not be hopeful. But I sort of choose not to live in that space and just focus on the good. And I'm also able to do that because so many people write to me, like this 13-year-old girl from Australia. Oh my goodness, got this email yesterday, and I'm reading along, and she's telling me about her blog and her photography and how she's going to be a documentary photographer, and she wants to work with me, and she's doing a documentary about sanctuaries. And then at the end, and she's like, and even though I'm 13, that doesn't stop me. I was like, whoa, you're 13. And like, she's going to rule the world. She's going to. People like her, like, she's such a hard worker, and she cares so much. And I see so much of this. So I'm choosing to focus on that.
What advice would you give to activists that are feeling, kind of burnt out? Because I know we've all been there.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not much of an advice giver. I sort of just can speak to my experience and how I dealt with it. And I thought I was invincible. And I think a lot of us think we're invincible, right? Like, we can push really hard. We can go without sleep. We can eat crappy road food. And like, so angry, and we have every right to be angry. Like, I'm really, really angry, but I can't live there. And that's, I guess, if you're asking for my advice, I'd probably just say, like, you actually have to be, like, nurtured happiness and the things that make us happy. And like, if you need more sleep, get more sleep. If you need more time with your friends, take it. Because you can't, like, if you burn out, there are so few animal rights activists, and there's so few activists in general in the world, that we really need to look after ourselves, because we do burn out because we care so much and we're so angry and there's so much work to do. But, some of us only last a couple of years and some of us last 20 years, but the world needs us. So just be happy. And, even if you have to work at it, like, work at it, be happy and try and stay positive and do what you need to do to make that happen so that you can stick around and do all this important work. What do you guys do to stay up, or do you stay positive?
I went probably 4 or 5 years almost of being completely down and really distraught and not active, and and it took me a lot to actually get out of it. Actually doing this podcast is probably the biggest thing that got me out of it.
Good.
And really focusing on the positive side of activism and not just the horrors all the time. I think it's good that to help pat each other on the backs on the small wins, and sometimes do the small wins just to have the small wins.
I think I had a lot of anger about it, mainly, and the fact that, like, the government's response to the things that I did and putting me in prison and stuff like that definitely didn't help with that anger, and it made it worse.
Of course.
But I think I'm coming out of it, and I think this podcast definitely helps too, for sure.
Yeah,
I want to hear more.
Well, what's really, like, amazing for me with the podcast is that, like, when I used to be heavily active in organizing and very localized organizing, especially, you would go, you'd do a protest, maybe have 100 people show up, and that's a really good day, and you got in a couple of local news stories and you're really up about it, and then 6 months later the same thing's going on and nothing really changed. And you don't feel like you ever affected anyone. But, like, doing the podcast, when you look at, like, how many people are listening and the responses we get back, and all of a sudden, you're like, oh, we're listening to have over 10,000 listeners. Like, you're like, holy shit, like, we're actually making a real difference.
Good.
So,
well, but part of me sometimes still feels it's a lot of armchair activism.
Yeah, I mean, that ties into a lot of social media, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All sorts of ways now that we can be informed and knowledgeable and taking part from our computer, from our armchair. But I mean, I think you're getting a lot of information out there, and people need to know stuff, and some people might react to one of your podcasts, and it will change their world, and some people might react to a photo of a cow slung upside down in a slaughterhouse, and some people their whole world might change because of a photo of a rescued cow. Like, different strokes for different folks, and it's just important that we're putting out these messages and this information, and it's grabbing people. I think it is.
Yeah, it totally is. I love it when somebody random comes up to you and tells you, you made them go vegan so many years ago. It just always reinvigorates you.
It really does.
You're like, oh,
Yeah.
that little circus protest, you took things away from that? Like,
amazing.
yeah.
So
Amazing.
So what got you into photography?
I'm sort of like a no plan kind of person. There's no grand plan. It's just like, oh, I like this, so I'm going to do this. But I was always really obsessed with the family albums. Like, my dad would take pictures, and I knew all the pictures by heart. And I guess it went from being obsessed with photos to being obsessed with storytelling and being really curious about the world. And so what I learned is that my camera was like a tool and like an all access pass into the lives of others. Maybe not all access, but you can get into places. You can learn things. Like I mentioned earlier, that Tibetan children's village that I photographed at. Well, it was sort of, it was like a door opening because I had a camera, because I could say, hey, like, can I photograph this with your story, and I'll share the story and I'll help get your work out there. So they're like, yes, come on in. And so it had sort of a dual benefit, because I got to do the work I wanted and satisfy my curiosity, and I got to make beautiful images, but it also helped them by me spreading the word and fundraising, through my photos for their stuff. So I don't know, it's a great tool. And also, I can't draw. Drawing takes a long time. So it's easier to just take one picture and you're like, there's my art. I'm just saying that because my family, my mom's side, they're all artists. Like, they, spend days and days at their canvases creating these beautiful things. And so I kind of grew up with art around me, but I was like, I can't do that. But I could take a picture.
One of my favorite things when I talk to vegans I've never met is I love hearing their stories of how they became vegan and what brought them into veganism. So what brought you into veganism?
Well, it's so funny because I was veg for 2 or 3 years before that, and I thought veganism was very extreme, and I would never do that. But I wanted to do an internship at Farm Sanctuary, and that's a month long. And one of the things is, like, out of respect for the animals, you have to be vegan on the premises. So I was like, well, that's really extreme, but I'm going to do that because I want to do the internship, and then I'll go back to being vegetarian. But it was only day one of being there and being vegan. And to my surprise, I was like, wow, this has been, not even 24 hours yet of not harming anyone. And no harm has come to anyone because of me and my life and my choices. And so that was it, like day one. I was like, wow, okay, well, I will never, ever, ever go back from this because this feels really, really good.
How was that internship at Farm?
Oh, I mean, that place is my home. It's my love, like everything about that place. And Susie Costin, the shelter director, is one of my best friends. So, I mean, that place just really means a lot to me in sort of every way. But that's not answering your question. How was the internship? The internship, well, you get up really early. You get up at 6:30 and you have to be on the shelter by 7:30, and you have your duties, cleaning sheds or feeding or helping with health checks. And it's an opportunity to be with all these animals that we're trying to protect and getting to know them. And it's mind-blowing. Oh my goodness, like that, a chicken will come up while you're doing health checks and sit on your shoulder. Or, turkeys like to be hugged, and all of these amazing things. And pigs are just so smart too, in the way they communicate and come up and grunt at you, and they're actually saying hello. And some of these animals have been so traumatized; they've been rescued from farms, and they come around really quickly. And so, for me, that taught me about forgiveness and taught me a lot about beauty and just how much we owe these animals. And actually, it taught me just how absolutely bad it is for the animals on factory farms. Because when you get to know even one pig or one chicken, then you think about the billions around the world who are in those situations, and it's such an emergency for every single one of those animals. And that you're like, oh God, okay, I have a lot of work to do. And so,
I'm one of those rare vegans where I could never do that because I have what I like to call a very healthy fear of animals. Where
you do?
Yeah, I don't really like being around animals very much.
Okay.
And like I said, it's a healthy fear. That's how I categorize it.
I want to know more.
No,
Where does it come from? What is it like? What's the fear like?
I have the very big stance that they have their life, I have my life. Let's do our own separate things.
Mm-hmm.
And which is one of the reasons, obviously, that I'm an animal rights activist. I totally believe that. And maybe it's the lack of. I don't know. Like, it's that whole fear of I have no idea what they're gonna do, so I'll just let them do their own thing.
Yeah. Well, what about communicating with animals? Dogs and cats, they're domesticated, so are pigs. Like, they can communicate with us and we can with them. So it's not, I feel like for me, there's not a huge divide. Like, if we just pay attention to them and we can sort of understand.
Oh, no, I totally agree with you. I think my fear is illogical.
Okay.
But I live with it.
This sort of reminds me of some chimpanzees that I met a few weeks ago. Their names are Tatu and Lulis, and they were part of a study in the U.S. somewhere in Washington State. And these are chimps who are taught American Sign Language, and then they're now in their 30s, and they were retired to a sanctuary in Canada. And I went there. I knew I was going to meet chimps who could talk to me, but it's just like it's one thing to like, okay, well, these chimps can sign, and then it's another thing to arrive there and they see us, come up with like a drink, and they ask us, "What's your drink?" And like, "Oh, can I smell your breath to know what the drink is?" And Tatu really likes coffee, and she confirmed that it was coffee, and she's like, "Can I have that with milk?"
Wow.
One girl has her nose pierced, and when she got her nose pierced, Tatu motioned like, "Is that sore?" Like they ask you questions. They really are perceptive. So to be around animals who can, in our language, express themselves was really mind blowing, because it just, we don't need, that's the thing, like we don't need that confirmation. We know they're smart, but yet, this sort of science has been done, and now they can speak to us in a limited way, but still, like, they can tell you what they're observing. And for me, it's not like, wow, science, look what happened, but for me, it's a larger observation about how smart they really are, and how they are all smart. Pigs are smarter than dogs. Pigs are as smart as 3-year-olds. So, we just like abuse the fuck out of all of them because we don't share a common language. And that's crazy. Like, because, pigs going to slaughter, they're screaming their heads off. But of course we know what that means, right? But we ignore it because they're not using our words. They're not saying, "Oh my God, I'd spare my life." Like, this is awful. It's crazy. Like, fine, science has proven this, that, and other thing, but like, what about our intuition? What about our common sense, right? Like, we have totally ignored that for profit and for our greed as well, because, people want bacon and all this. Anyway, ranty rant.
Oh, no. What's been like your most amazing experience doing your projects?
Oh, I can't. There's not a pinpoint. I'm sorry, but it's been one amazing experience after the other. I've been really, really lucky. I've met people who are rescuing animals from the bushmeat trade in Africa. I've met former poachers in Africa who are out there removing snares from the forest, and all the bears that I've met who've been in bear bile farms who are in sanctuary now. And you sort of, you get to go to these sanctuaries or the bear bile farms, and you see what they're like there, and then you see them transform. And I feel like everything is just a miracle. Like everything that I see, everything that I witness, and especially the transformation in animals. I think, if I was to answer your question, there's not one circumstance, but seeing animals before and after, it's just like we just owe them so much, to see their personalities come out and that were never allowed to come out, or were there and no one gave a shit. But to see animals blossom into who they want to be as much as they can be within the confines of a sanctuary, it's pretty incredible.
Maybe that's part of my fear, is that I've never allowed myself to be around animals enough to experience that side of them. I know it's there logically, but I've just always shied away from it.
And that's okay. I mean, if it's not your thing, no one has to be best friends with pigs. Not everyone, I mean.
My daughter is always pushing me. She's always like, "You need to go to the sanctuary." I was like, "I'm okay."
How old is she?
7.
And why does she want to go to the sanctuary?
She's just like every other normal vegan, just loves animals, loves doing everything she can, loves being around them, loves knowing she's not hurting them. That's her favorite thing.
That's beautiful. And she's 7.
Yeah.
Aw, see? Happiness. Wow.
No, I mean, she's a total inspiration on those things. Like, we'll be driving and she'll see some horses in a pasture and she's like, "I want to let them free." Like, just...
A liberationist.
Oh, without a doubt, yes.
Oh my goodness. Tell her to be safe.
She's very well versed in security culture. So but yeah, she's really cute in her school too. Like they'll do like little school assignments and she'll cross out things on school assignments like milk's not good for you. We don't need to drink this. Like,
oh man.
Oh, that is wonderful. And it's interesting. Like, is she the odd one out pretty much, or are there other kids?
No, she's actually not. There's 2 vegan kids in her. Well, she's one. There's 2 total vegan kids in her class and 2 other vegetarian kids.
Okay, well, that's good. And I mean, kids can be mean to each other, and she might see negative consequences from that. But like, when there are kids that are different in class, people watch them, right? Like, people see what they're doing and why. And I mean, I for one didn't forget the kids who were doing things differently. I remember, like, I wasn't veg or vegan until my 20s, but I remember in like grade 6 if there was a vegetarian in the class, and I thought about them, like, what do they eat? And that's interesting. Like, anyway, they will have a ripple effect, and it's good. I mean, just having a presence. Oh my goodness, that's amazing.
See, I was that odd kid. I was veg and vegan in junior high, so I was the only one that really odd, like, crazy kid. Yeah.
Likewise.
I'm sure I didn't leave a great impression with a lot of them, unfortunately.
Oh, junior high. So what brought that about?
So I went vegetarian for about 2 years before I went vegan, from age 9 to 11.
Oh my goodness.
And that was just not wanting, like, literally not wanting to eat meat. Like, I remember talking to my mom, like, I don't want to eat meat anymore. And she asked me why I wanted to be a vegetarian. I didn't even know what the term was. I hadn't heard it before.
Whoa.
And then, honestly, from there, they made me promise not to become vegan, and which I wasn't really familiar with it, and that made me get familiar with it.
Yeah. Backfire.
Yeah, totally. And like I wanted to be vegan at about 10, but I never made the change. And when I decided to make the change, I didn't tell my parents. And after like 3 months, my mom was finally like, "You're not eating cheese ravioli anymore. You're vegan, aren't you?" I'm like, "Yes," for 3 months. And it's been ever since.
Oh. Wow. And have your parents been influenced by you much?
I want to say yes, but no. Unfortunately, my dad tried for a long time, but my mom was not supportive, so he's not a strong individual, unfortunately.
Okay.
Yeah. There's just
I hear you.
With the amount of time that I have, just recently in the past maybe 2 years, my mom finally went vegetarian.
That's been about 3 years.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And it was after watching Vegucated, of all things to watch.
You never know. That's the thing, eh?
Yeah.
Like, just don't know what's gonna get people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, my mom and stepdad went veg recently as well, and they started by stopping eating pigs, and I wish I could turn back time because I was a different person, 2-3 years ago, and I was just like more of a crabby vegan.
Yeah.
Or like non-supportive vegan. But anyway, I remember like it was sort of a big deal for her to tell me, Joe, I haven't been eating bacon or I haven't been eating pigs for a few months. And my reaction was like, oh, well, I mean, I was sort of superficially supportive, but my initial thought was like, God, you can do better than that. But, so I don't think I wasn't really cheerleading the change that she'd made. But I'm really different now, and any change that people will make, I'm just like, yes, that's amazing, like, go for it. And I mean, now if someone told me, I've given up eating a certain animal, I would never be like, oh, that's a nice first step, or like, you can do better automatically. Like, I just sort of want to prop people up in the decisions they're making rather than be disappointed in people all the time. That's something else that's definitely changed in the last few years, and it's sort of helped with my happiness, is just like, don't, whether it's good or bad, just like don't expect too much of people and just be really supportive of the changes they're making, and like don't stress over what my parents are eating or my sister, like just leave it. And if they're gonna make changes, then be their biggest cheerleader.
I think that's really good advice because I was that kid growing up where every opportunity I took to point out the faults and how my parents were acting. So I'm this exact opposite, saying everything you're doing is wrong, and probably didn't help things in the long run.
Well, like Psych 101, I mean, we should all know this stuff, really. Like, if we're trying to get people to change, just like battering them is no good, or looking down, or do better, or, don't the suffering? Like, just generally, that doesn't work for people.
I wish I could go back and tell 15-year-old me.
Yeah. I wish I could go back 3 years ago when my mom went vegetarian and she was eating Jell-O, and I'm like, you can't eat that. And she's like, well, I guess I'm not a vegetarian. I'm like, you're not.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Yeah. It's
oh, no.
definitely
It's really weird because
family
dealing with family is so different than dealing with someone else. Someone else, you're like, it's okay, keep trying.
Yeah.
Family,
it's just a lot of compassion behind it. You want them to be doing the right thing, and so you have that strong feeling.
Yeah.
And so it's
very strong feeling. Activists have very strong feeling.
Yeah.
So your parents are vegetarian now?
My mom and stepdad are pescatarian. They like to say vegetarian, and that's a whole other thing. Is that it's interesting how so many people want to call themselves vegetarian. Like, they've cut out eating one animal, and they're like, "Oh, I'm vegetarian." Well, most of the time, they're like, "Well, I mean, I stopped eating pig." But I mean, it indicates that being vegan and vegetarian is like quote unquote cool in some way, like that you're taking a stand on something. So I don't know. We need to capitalize on that. I'm not sure how, but yeah. And then my other parents don't eat much meat at this point.
I've never had a hard time with vegetarians who want to say they're vegetarian but they're pescatarian or anything like that. But I've always had a really hard time when people are like, I'm vegan, but I eat honey, or I'm vegan. Most of the time, I have a hard time with that, but not with vegetarianism. It's really interesting.
Interesting. You've drawn a line.
Well, it's if you're going to be vegan, tote the line.
Yeah. Well, what about vegans who are phasing out the leather boots that they have and stuff like that?
Secondhand leather.
If I'm a huge proponent of using what you have, I'm okay with that. I think it's all about current new purchases.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, so I mean, if you go vegan, don't just go throw out every pair of shoes you have. That's just being wasteful. But but I'm not. God, I'm gonna get myself in trouble here. I'm not a huge fan of secondhand leather products, just because I think it promotes the wrong image. you know, like you see someone who's been vegan for 20 years, but they're buying secondhand leather. I don't have a moral objection to it, but I think it's the wrong image to be being portrayed.
You wouldn't buy secondhand fur.
Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
I wouldn't buy secondhand meat either. So.
And hey, what do you think about secondhand meat? What do you think about vegans who wear fur? I mean, sorry, who wear fake fur that looks like fur?
Man, you're just trying to get us in trouble.
Yeah.
No, I know. It's like dicey territory. I'll say I'll give you my opinion first, so that you guys can feel safe to give your opinion.
Okay. I've said so much it doesn't matter anymore. So, but yeah, what's your opinion on it?
Well, I have friends who wear this really look-alike fake fur, and they like telling everyone, you know, their point is that, like, they can tell everyone this is fake. You don't need to wear the real stuff. And I get that. But at the same time, most people won't know that it's fake. And so there's a dilemma there, because it looks like you're walking around promoting wearing fur. Dun, dun, dun.
I just remember
I know what Jordan's going with. There was a picture of Jordan leaving the courthouse wearing a coat that had fur trim on it.
Faux fur.
It was faux fur.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And I'll be the first one to tell everyone if Jordan's embarrassed by this. He didn't buy the coat. It was given to him. But the comments that received in the news media were ridiculous.
And also by the marshals and everyone else. Oh, so you're against farming animals, but you wear a fur coat. Yeah.
Oh man.
So definitely
brutal.
Definitely, it was a backfire on that. But personally, like, I think that going and seeing, like, going like down to Sundance, you see people with fur. I don't know if how common fur is in like your area, but like, I'd say the fur farms are more common here than actual fur.
Yeah, people aren't rich enough here to actually own real fur. They have fur trim, but not. Yeah.
And so when you go down to these places and actually see the fur, I think there's a very distinct difference between fur and like faux fur, but I don't know. I can tell, but maybe it's just because I know.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I can tell because I look at everyone's jackets on public transit. I mean, it's freezing cold here, and those stupid Canada Goose jackets are really popular, and they all have fur. I'm always like looking and.
We're fortunate enough to not have those here yet.
Yeah.
Janae was telling us about those, and we're not looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's disgusting. And if I can just be mean for a moment, and I will, it's like an advertisement when the cold weather comes. It's an advertisement to identify people who are ignorant to these issues. Because in the summer, you wouldn't know, but in the winter, all of these popular jackets come out with the fur, and they're full of goose down, and you're like, oh, you're ignorant. Oh, look, every second person is ignorant. Oh, I'm really disillusioned right now. Okay. Go home and lick my wounds and put out a positive blog about sanctuaries and how things are changing, and it's fine. Rocking myself back and forth, it's fine.
You know, the last time I actually saw somebody wearing a fur coat, I kind of got in a little bit of trouble because sometimes I have the problem of I think I'm saying something in my mind, but it comes out of my mouth.
Oh yeah.
And my mind can be really, really bad. And I was walking through a line, and she was in the line, and I was walking through it, and she had a full length fox fur coat on, and I cut her off, and she said, "Excuse me," and I go, "Fuck you, cunt."
Terrible.
And I'm like, "Oh my god!" I just said that out loud with like no context, like
no context.
And you used the mighty C word.
Yeah, I like I said, it's one of those like mind thing. Like it was not a good experience.
Did you explain? Were you like, oh, sorry, but the reason I called you a fucking cunt is?
No, my wife grabbed me and pulled me away.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not...
So you lost that one. She just thinks you're a big jerk.
Yeah, I totally lost that one all around. That's not a win in any
not a
shape
win.
or form. Shouldn't even admit that out loud, but
no.
But there you
Maybe
go.
she'll hear this someday. Maybe she's listening.
Maybe.
No.
But I stand behind the statement. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Oh well, and we haven't cast judgment yet, like official judgment on the vegans who are the fake fur. What is the correct thing? I don't know.
The
You know,
Discerning
I-
Brute had something interesting on it.
Who
but
did?
The Discerning Brute had a very interesting,
Oh, what did he say?
very. It was anti faux fur, but
For what reasons? I mean, I can imagine, but
for the same reasons that it promotes the idea of that fur is fashionable. But I don't know, because it kind of falls in the territory of like I wear skate shoes that have like faux leather, that because they're easier, like it's tougher on like the skateboards are tougher on your shoes, and so it just helps with that. And so
makes sense.
You know, I want to be the dissenting voice on this one. Like, I'm 100% for anything that's going to make people go vegan. You know, after that, I think it's kind of, cutting hairs almost. Like, I think it's important, and I think as people become more active and the longer that they're involved, they'll make those decisions. But I'm not going to go to someone who's been vegan for 2 months and be like, get rid of that goddamn fur trim because it's sending, or faux fur trim because it's sending the wrong message.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
I hear you.
I think that would be like one of the last issues that we'll have to fight.
I can't wait till that's the issue.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I know, exactly.
Yeah.
I go to Toronto Pig Day, the vigil, quite regularly, where we go down and just bear witness to the slaughter trucks coming in. And anyway, I take photos and I post them. And there's one activist who's like reaching out and touching a pig's nose, and she's crying, and she has this faux trim on her jacket. And of course, the vegan activists look at the picture and they're like, that better be faux. It's like, come on, can you just forget about it? First of all, of course it's faux. And like, even if it wasn't, like you said, the example of maybe she'd only been vegan for 2 months and she was wearing out her clothes. Like, like of all the things to focus on in this like monumental thing that's happening with the 6,000 pigs being slaughtered a day, like, can the vegans please just chill out and not be like, that better not be, that better.
But on that side note, I will say,
yeah,
if you are an activist and putting yourself out there, especially for
That's
media
true.
attention, you really need to be, conscious of what your appearance is and what you're sending across.
Okay, fine, you're right.
I mean, I think there's a big difference between, somebody who's like, I'm holding this press conference for this issue, and somebody who's like, I'm, just an activist. This is my first protest I've ever shown up to. I think there's a difference between, those individuals.
I guess I just take issue with it's like the vegans who are like, who's the most perfect activist, and there's that kind of feeling like
That's Jordan. I mean, I'm not the most perfect activist he is.
Well, obviously. No, I'm just kidding.
oh, man.
I think it's hard when, especially like a lot of the people that are doing the policing are doing it from the internet, and that a lot of them do absolutely nothing else in their life. I mean, I shouldn't say that. They are vegan, so, but they're not putting themselves out there, and they're being the ones that are being the most judgy, and it's just like,
now
I'm getting myself in trouble.
I know, we're all getting in trouble because we're judging the judgers, and everyone's judging everything right now. We should like change tack.
But this is you get vegans together, and it's either judging other activists or food.
Yeah,
like
yeah, I know, exactly. It's like, let's talk about soy milk. Like right now, I'm drinking Silk. What about you guys? Milk?
What do you think about? Let's go on judging.
Yeah.
What do you think about all the people that are like, you can't drink Silk? It's owned by White Wave. White Wave is a dairy.
I know. that one, I'm just like, it tastes really good in my tea. Go ahead and
I can't tell you how many times I've had this, and I've researched this. If anyone wants to know, in the West Coast of the United States, in a grocery store, there is not one brand of soy milk or almond milk that does not tie back to some form of corporation that does not have animal suffering tied to it.
Yeah.
The East Coast has some, but the West Coast doesn't of the United States.
Well, it's the big companies, that are selling all sorts of products that have the power to get things into all the grocery stores. So of course, it's like whoever makes Silk, of course they're huge. Like of course they're going to be able to get it on every shelf. And
and once something is good and popular, it's usually bought out by those corporations anyways. Tom's of Maine, for example, got bought by Colgate. It's like
I think there's like 12 main corporations that own most products that we buy.
Yeah.
Even didn't the Body Shop get bought out by
L'Oreal, I think.
Yeah.
And that's not to, and we actually talked about this even earlier today. We like when you buy something from a store, that money goes back into the store, and the store might have a meat department.
Yeah, we can only be so perfect.
Yeah.
I can't wait till that's like just what we're saying. I can't wait till that's our issue. You know, it's no longer about the suffering in factory farms because we've won that battle. Like,
I agree. Maybe in our lifetime.
Have you ever had the opportunity of taking photos inside of a fur farm?
Oh, many, many times.
Yeah, they're pretty atrocious.
They are. I've been to fox farms and farms that breed raccoon dogs, and lots of mink farms. It was part of a big investigation in Sweden with mink farms. So, yeah.
Can I ask about the legality of it? Because for here, that's like unheard of. You'd be.
I mean, that's on borderline terrorism.
Yeah,
like that's
yeah.
not. Yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, unfortunately, the laws there work on me. Like, I won't do that. I won't do that work in the U.S. First of all, there are a lot of people doing really good work in the U.S.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like I'm needed in the U.S. the way I'm needed in other countries.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also just much easier. I mean, still in many places in Europe, I can just like sidle up to a farm and ask for a tour and get a tour. Or, there aren't the laws that are going to throw me in jail forever. And, you might get slapped with trespassing and stuff, but it's pretty not inconsequential. It's consequential, but like compared to the U.S., peanuts. So,
do you notice a difference in how activists treat the causes wherever you go because of the laws, like especially how unbelievably fucked up they are here?
Give me an example.
Do you see like activists refusing like not wanting to take certain steps in the U.S. that other places are going just because of the law stymieing it?
I guess I don't know. I don't have enough experience with that to answer, and also because I don't really work in the States. I'm in the States all the time. I have lots of friends there. I visit all the time, but I don't really work there. I went down to Hurricane Katrina and documented the dog and cat rescue. I went down to the oil spill to document the effect on animals, but that's like sort of the easy stuff compared to what other activists are doing in the U.S.
I guess the easy answer is it stifles you because you said you're already afraid of the laws here. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, God, and I feel just like beaten down because of that, and I feel embarrassed. Like, if I was a better activist or a braver activist, I would just do it anyway. But I mean, I have a lot of lifelines in the USA, and if I was banned from that country, that would be a very, very monumental, life-changing thing for me. So I'm not going to do it, and that's sad for me. Like, everyone loses because I'm making that decision, but maybe I'm not losing because maybe I'll still be able to get in there and do other things.
Has your work ever made it hard to cross into the U.S.? I've talked to some activists that have a pretty hard time with border agents because of it.
No, luckily, but maybe that will change. I mean, I'm in a film right now that a lot of people are seeing, and that'll be touring in the U.S. for the next 6 months. So more and more people are going to know, and I'm sure all the feds know what I do and know everything that I do. But the truth is that I don't do that work in the U.S. So, I mean, would they have to prove, that I do it? No, I guess they don't even have to prove. They can just wave a wand and like ban me from the country. But no problems yet. But I also try and be really, really. I don't try and be truthful. I am truthful about what I'm doing when I go there. So, and I have a friend who's a lawyer who advises me as well. Like, when I go in, I usually have a letter with me saying like this is where I'm staying. Like, I type it up with like letterhead and everything. Like, how long I'm staying, who I'm staying with. What I'm doing, and I won't be getting paid for anything, and just try and be as clear as possible. But it's like the hardest country to get into, for sure, and we're your neighbors. We're your friendly old Canadian neighbors.
Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. I've been denied entry once to Canada, but that's a whole other side story. But I mean, every time
I didn't hear you. Can you repeat that? Sorry, you did what?
I've been denied entry into Canada before, but that's a side story. But coming back, even as a U.S. citizen, sometimes is a nightmare. Yeah, it's pretty fucked up.
I think it's my wife's actually from Colombia, and she, we had to work really hard to get her a visa over here. But now that she's here, they won't let her leave until she gets a green card. It's the odd
And
thing.
how long is that? Like 2 years or something?
It can take
7,
3 to 7,
Yeah.
but it's
Really?
it's an expedited process with marriage. Fortunately, it's
So
the
how
easiest
long
way
is
to
it-
do it.
So how long is the marriage then?
I think we could maybe get it within the next 3 years, but
Oh my God.
she could possibly leave with permission. I know it's silly, but
So, and yeah, I mean, that's really incredible because, of course, she would want to go home and visit family, but basically she's denied that right?
yeah, kind of without proper permission. It's almost like she's on parole. It's weird.
That's pretty harsh.
Yeah.
We don't have a people-friendly government.
No.
No.
I have heard
Well-
of people getting stopped at the Canadian border for things like petty theft, not being allowed over because they stole something here in the U.S.
I've heard stories of that too.
Yeah, me too. Me too.
So what's your favorite country to visit as far as being vegan goes?
Actually, before we go to that, I just have to say that I had dreadlocks twice for a couple years, and it was really, really hilarious that when I had my dreads and I would drive up to the border, they would always ask me if I had pot. Like, come on, are you that unoriginal? I've like since I've had normal hair, they have not asked me that. Like, come on, guys. Anyway.
Well, a side story on that one real quick.
Yeah.
Last time I was in jail, I was talking to a kid, and a conversation in jail is, why are you in, right?
Mhm.
And he,
Yeah.
same story, is I was pulled over, the cop asked me if I had marijuana, and I said yes.
And he said yes.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I quickly, informed him of what his rights are and how to handle it properly in the future.
Oh. Man. Seriously. Oh, and he was in for that. Oh, poor guy.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's terrible.
Well, favorite country to travel in as a vegan. There are so many good ones, really. And I live in one of the best cities in the world to be vegan. Toronto's awesome for that. I mean, Apocalypse Now just opened today. There's always new stuff. The U.S. is fantastic, and India is really good. I mean, that's a really veg-friendly place.
Is it really?
I think so. But they'll sort of tell you what you want. Like, is there dairy in this veg thing?
Uh-huh.
And they're like looking to like analyze you to see like what answer does she want?
She want to know that there is or not.
Yeah.
And then Thailand is incredible. Southeast Asia is, I mean, I sort of think it's pretty easy to be vegan anywhere, but I'm also an easy vegan. Like, I'm happy to be in Africa for a couple months eating beans and rice. Like, I love beans and rice. So
Totally.
it also depends on what your needs are, And I brought powdered soy milk for my teas, but I brought like protein powders and stuff so I could make shakes, So I was eating well-rounded stuff. But some vegans have a hard time traveling because they're really worried about where they're going to eat. But I sort of just eat anywhere, and I'm usually pretty happy.
Yeah, when I was in Peru, up in the mountains, it was
the harder part. That's harder.
It was
Or
pretty.
is it not?
What was that? It was. I mean, it was pretty much potatoes or dairy was the staple of most people's diet, and so I
Yeah.
just took out the dairy, because apparently you can live off of potatoes and dairy.
I know, eh?
But
Actually, I do find South America harder, and I found that I would go long stretches eating potatoes, tomatoes, maybe some like overcooked greens, and some beans for like weeks on end.
That just sounds like my daily living.
I actually really liked at least my little stay in Peru, because in the mornings they had these like giant avocados that were like half the size of a football. I don't know.
Yes.
But,
Yes.
so you just throw that on some fresh bread from the bakery that happens to be vegan, and a coffee in the morning, and you're good to go. It was
Hell yeah.
the best.
So, what would both of you, what would your last meal be?
Last meal.
Yeah.
Okay, this sounds ridiculous, but I've thought about this a lot, and I have this planned. So I need
Awesome.
Should I be worried?
a vegan Arby's cheddar melt. It is
No way.
It is the only thing that I've ever craved since I've been vegan. I don't know why.
Why don't you just make one?
Never have.
Why don't you?
Yeah. Huh, that's tough.
It doesn't even have to be your like imaginary last meal. You could just make that happen for yourself. Couldn't you? Maybe no.
I don't know. I'd have to say.
Besides that, I would go with Bang and Bartha.
Okay. Awesome.
I mean, we can't go wrong with curried eggplant. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. I had that last night.
you had that last night?
I sure did.
Oh, you're making me jealous. I think I'm going to have it tonight.
I don't like eggplant.
Oh.
So I would have eggplant just to spite myself. No, I'm really not sure. That's a really tough question for me because I don't know. I can't think of a favorite food for myself either. I like vegan hot dogs. Probably that's
Amazing.
Did you hear about the there was an inmate here on death row that his last meal, what he wanted was a vegetarian pizza sent to a homeless man.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah,
they denied his
the
request.
state denied the request, and but that night it was published in a local paper, and that night that city received, I think it was like 12,000 vegetarian pizzas delivered to homeless shelters.
Oh my heart.
Yeah.
Oh.
So what would be your last meal?
Probably a tomato sandwich. It's like the best food in the world.
What do you put on your tomato sandwiches?
I probably use like the Ezekiel bread, and which is like a sprouted grain, blah blah blah, good for you. And then I would have lots of like beef steamed tomato, like nice thick, and then lots of veganese, like lots of everything. Probably lots of sprouts, some spinach, maybe some Dijon. Make it really nice and thick, and then like squish it down with your hand, and like shove it in your mouth.
That's delicious. That sounds good to me. And I'm not really a tomato person.
I hate tomatoes,
but that does sound pretty good.
Yeah, I love
as long as the tomato's salted a little bit, then I can deal with it.
Oh, I forgot. Salt and cracked pepper. Yeah,
okay, good.
We're good. There's too many healthy food in there to make that your last meal.
Oh, I really, when I'm at home, I'm like home and single, and I don't have to worry about anyone else or like making well-rounded meals because I live with someone and I have to feel responsible for that. I mean, I just don't. I just eat a lot of beans and rice and tomato sandwiches and tofu scrambles.
The tofu scramble is definitely a staple at my house.
I absolutely hate having to always be like, I can't just throw some shit meal together for myself and be like, no, I'm responsible for this little kid and I have to teach them how to be healthy. And
Yeah, you have to make really good, well-rounded food when you're responsible for others.
You really do.
Unlike the pancakes and hash browns this morning.
Oh, that sounds good. Greasy hash browns.
That's right.
Good hot sauce.
Exactly.
Oh, look, we're vegans talking about food again.
Oh no. What happened?
What a surprise.
We're so...
The only uncharted territory at this point is like cats. We haven't talked about like LOL cats.
LOL cats.
LOL cats.
I know.
LOL cats.
I'm totally oblivious to this conversation.
Oh,
Lol
like
cats.
cat memes on the internet.
Again, I'm not an animal person.
You go on Reddit. You should know.
Yeah, but I don't go to the cat section or the awe section.
It's on the front page all the time.
I thought just by virtue of being alive in this world, and being on the internet, you would see like cat memes and dog memes.
Again, I'm not an animal person.
It's terrible.
It's like you're blind to any of these things. Are you on Facebook?
No.
Oh, good for you.
I was like really quick to that. No.
Respect, man. That's awesome. There are a lot of good reasons to not be on Facebook.
But you do go on Reddit, and they're on the front page quite often. So just when you're done, just look up lolcats.
LOL cats. Or just don't, because then you'll have this awful addiction and you'll talk about LOL cats all the time.
I love Reddit for the Today I Learned.
Well, you can only get so much of that before you have to get cats.
So do you have any companion animals?
I do. Only a couple right now. We had in our house our beloved one-eyed rescued hamster named Doris Featherbottom, and she graced our home for 2 years, and she passed away recently. But I have with me 2 birds who live in my office. They're budgies, and their names are Judy and New Girl. And they fly around in there, and we're good friends. And I have my dog of 11 years. His name is Samson. And Samson is an African beaver hound. I'm joking. There's no such thing.
I was going to say, I've never heard of that.
You should see him. I mean, no one has any idea what he is. So in the park, people are like, what is he? And I say he's an African beaver hound, and just watch them go, oh. Yeah, like I'm just waiting for the day when someone tells me some story like they had one too. Oh man, but yeah, I mean, I travel a lot, so I share Samson with one of my best friends who lives down the street. We co-parent. But yeah, so right now there's only 3 animals here.
That's awesome.
I had 11 rescued birds at one point, and that was just a mess because they fly around the house. It's like, dear God,
Yeah,
that's crazy.
How much cleaning can I do in a day? Bless their little pooey selves, but.
My daughter is on a search to rescue a toad.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, she wants to rescue a toad, and I say, as long as you can find a rescued toad, we'll rescue a toad. But
oh my gosh, like where do they keep the frogs that they're gonna kill for dissection class? So we need to go there and like get all the toads.
That reminds me, I rescued a rat from my middle school when they were gonna dissect them. And I was only supposed to, well, I took 2 of them, and my parents got mad at me because I was only supposed to take 1.
Yeah.
See,
good for you.
Unlike you, I was successful in stopping dissection for an entire year in high school. So there was nothing to rescue.
Well, good for you.
Makes
me feel bad.
So you put up such a stink that they decided not to do it, or what happened?
Yeah, pretty much. I threatened huge protests outside the schools to have a sit-in during the lunch, and that was the compromise. The biology teacher said as long as I could provide the educational equivalent for non-dissection means that they would go along with it for the last year I was there.
And what did you provide?
I got information from PETA and I wish I could remember which other. I think it was LCA, but I'm not 100% for sure. And they provided all the learning pamphlets and everything for the school.
Okay,
awesome.
Good. I hope they continued with that. They said it would just be the year.
Though they didn't, because Jordan went to the same high school I went to.
Yeah.
Oh, I see.
But
speaking of rescuing animals, they're adopting out 40 desert tortoises here in Utah, and you can apply. They're going over applications.
Where did they come from? Why do they need adopting?
Because they are an endangered species, and they
where did these 40 come from? I'm not familiar with this.
They rescued them from. I'm not sure. I'll have to look into it more. But they need a home. I don't know. I should probably look into that a little bit, but
would your daughter take a turtle over a toad?
If I told her about it.
They sleep. They hibernate for like 5 months out of the year.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, it's weird. You have to have a place that's below 60 but above freezing, and they can hibernate. And that's Fahrenheit. So
Fascinating. I mean, imagine having an animal in your house and like 5 months a year, you're like, yeah, dude's in that little box there. Yeah, like just leave him. Just don't.
He's cool.
Don't,
yeah.
You don't need to feed him. He's cool.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't need water. You don't need to check on him. He's cool.
It's got to be weird. Is he dead? No.
I would probably not be able to stop myself from checking on them every day.
Yeah.
But how would you know they're okay if they're hibernating?
It's true. It's weird. I think you're supposed to check them once a month, make sure like certain vital signs and stuff. But besides that, I don't know. And they like to live outside in the backyard mainly.
Testing a turtle's vital signs.
I know.
Oh, that's cute.
I might have to look into that.
Yeah.
Yeah, really.
Well, how can people get in contact with you and follow your work?
Okay. Well, let's start with the main project at weanimals.org. And some people actually do ask, they're like, oh, small animals? No. WE. We as in us. Weanimals.org.
I'm sorry, I'm just picturing memes with that on there.
Don't start those, please. Mocking my long-term project.
No promises.
So yeah, weanimals.org. The film that came out about my work is called The Ghost in Our Machine, and it's an animal rights film that's touring the U.S. for the next year or so. And so it's ghostinourmachine.com. And I do humane education. So there's humaneeducation.ca. And I have a book. Oh my God. Are you sorry you asked? I'm going on and on.
Oh, no, not at all.
The first We Animals book came out a few months ago. And you can ask your local library or bookstore to order it. Or you can get it from Amazon. Unfortunately, that's the easiest place. But that's what it is for now. That is me.
I want to get that book. That would be amazing.
Oh, I hope you do.
Most definitely. So we end every show saying fuck, shit, damn. Would you mind saying it this week for us?
Fuck, shit, damn. Don't tell my dad, though. Cannot hear this. I've already been scolded enough for swearing in the book. The book ends with like lots of F-bombs because it's journal entries from the field. So he gave me a talking to about that. So fuck, shit, damn. Don't tell my dad.
Well, if you tell him, just don't listen to the last part.
Yeah. You don't really end every show that way.
No, we do.
We want to get that explicit rating. We have to.
Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
We dropped the C word and like everything else. Oh my God, nothing is sacred.
I guess we already did get it with that, yeah.
With what?
The C-bomb.
Yeah, that was, that was actually, fun fact, last time I've ever said that.
That's the last time you...
Yeah.
Good for you.
But that was like 7 years ago. I mean...
Yeah.
Wow, you broke the seal, the C-bomb seal, after 7 years?
No, I said that about 7 years ago.
Oh, okay.
It wasn't a recent occurrence.
Got it. Je comprends.
No, having a daughter really cleaned me up on those type of mindsets.
Yeah, probably a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, for now.
Yep. Okay, well, awesome. This has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
And talk to you again. Keep kicking ass.
Yeah, most definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, have a wonderful night.
You too. Bye, guys.
Bye-bye. Bye.
This week you heard
Andrew Bird, Minor Beatrice.
Right now you're listening to
The White Shadow, Solid.
And as always,
El Comandantes.
Which side are you on?
So, let's be the dicks that promote Valentine's Day.
Yeah, so if you're going to get chocolates for your loved ones...
Well, 1, make sure they're vegan.
Make sure they're vegan.
2, make sure they're ethical.
And
Number 3,
get them from Amazon.
Get them through Amazon through our link. Or if you're buying anything for anyone, ever, including yourself, please use our link on Amazon.
That'd be sweet.
Yeah.
You can also find us and friend us on social medias. Like us.
Yeah. Did you know we got like 10 emails in the last couple of weeks from Amazon saying, here's Valentine's things you can push.
No.
Yeah. I just kept deleting them.
Fuck them.
And then
Then you can get
just remember to rate and review us on iTunes.
There you
Let's
go.
get us new listeners.
that's always good to do.
And then follow us on social media sites.
And if you wanted to get us anything off our wish list as a Valentine's present to us, that'd be sweet. We'll give you a membership in return.
Totally will. And if you want to give us something that's not on the wish list, feel free.
And we'll maybe give you a membership.
It depends on
depending.
how cool it is.
Like, if you send a bomb in the mail or
Well, as long as it doesn't blow up on me, cool.
or poison razor blades that cut me and I get poisoned.
If you
that's
send
not
me a
cool.
warning letter saying, hey, these are coming, be careful when you open them, here's who would like you to remail them to, cool.
like anthrax, probably shouldn't send that.
Yeah,
That's not
probably
cool.
anthrax, probably not cool.
Yeah, because you don't want to breathe this. Don't breathe this.
Don't breathe this. Here you
They
go.
you should blend tech anthrax.
Will it blend?
Will it blend? Don't breathe this. Fuck shit damn.
I forgot how we ended.
That's
Holy
how we
fuck.
end it. Fuck
Yeah,
shit
fuck
damn.
shit damn.
Which Side is produced by the Which Side Media Collective.